Welcome back to High Stakes. Elevate your game by subscribing to our channel so you never miss our daily content. For exclusive access to our premium betting picks, join our Patreon. Find the link in the comments section below. Stay ahead with High Stakes. North Carolina versus Minnesota. The post-Drake May era begins in earnest for the Tar Heels as they face their toughest non-conference of the season test right out of the gate. Leading into this game, head coach Mack Brown, now in his sixth season at the Tar Heels' helm, revealed a plan to play two quarterbacks in this game and likely beyond to get the most out of senior Max Johnson and sophomore Connor Harrell this season. The new QBs will have the luxury of having one of the best backs in the nation, Omarion Hampton, to hand the ball off to. The junior running back finished fifth in the country last season with 1,504 yards on the ground, and his 15 rushing touchdowns were tied for 11th most. The Tar Heels defense was middle of the pack in the ACC last season, allowing 27.1 points per game. The 405.4 total yards given up on average ranked 12th in the conference, with 242.3 coming by way of air, the worst mark in the ACC. Like Mays on the offense end, linebacker Cedric Gray going to the NFL leaves a big hole in the middle of the North Carolina defense. Edge rusher Des Evans is key to improving this defense. The senior had 33 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. The Golden Gophers were navigating through the 2023 campaign at 5-3 before the last portion of their Big Ten schedule did them in, with the defense allowing 35.3 points per game over their last 4 regular season matchups. Overall, the unit allowed 26.9 points and 373.8 total yards per game last season. Defensive lineman Ja Joyner, who led the team with 7.5 sacks a year ago, is on a mission this season to get to the quarterback even more, boasting, "That is my goal, to be a double-digit sack guy," at Media Day. On the offensive end, running back Darius Taylor was banged up a bit with a leg injury, but should be a go in this matchup. The sophomore led the team with 799 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns, to go with 11 catches and 92 yards. His health could go a long way in helping Max Brosmer get adjusted at quarterback. Brosmer comes to the team from the University of New Hampshire, an FCS school where he threw for 8,713 yards and 70 touchdowns over 36 games. With 3 transfer RBs from FCS schools, head coach PJ Fleck isn't overly concerned about any injury issues within the unit. The Gophers were favored initially by -2.5, but the pendulum has since swung in the Tar Heels' favor. This tells me that there may be more to the Taylor injury than Fleck is letting on. Either way, the injury report won't come out until a few hours before kickoff, so keep an eye on that. These two met last season and UNC rolled at home, 31-13. Minnesota's defense will need to prove themselves big time, and they may need some experience in that department before they hit any sort of stride. As the Heels go with a 2 QB set and the Gophers break in Brosmer, a good bulk of the touches on offense should be with the running backs on both sides. North Carolina comes in with one of the best rushers in the land, which is enough of an advantage for me. Thunderstorms are expected in Minneapolis throughout the day on Thursday, but should clear out by game time. North Carolina was 6-7 ATS last year and Minnesota was 4-9 ATS. Take the Tar Heels to cover. My team pick is North Carolina -1.5 points. Last season's meeting landed under a 53-point total, with a combined 44 points scored. The Tar Heels went very pass-heavy in that one, with 414 yards through the air. This time, however, with 2 new QBs in the mix, I fully expect Hampton to become the focal point for the Heels' offense all season. As noted above, Minnesota is in a similar predicament where they are breaking in a new QB and one who has yet to play at this level. With their top rusher back, they'll focus that area on their offense, at least in the early goings. Even if Taylor is more banged up than they are letting on, there are ample, experienced backups in that group to game plan for. This should keep the game clock rolling and the score down. Last season, North Carolina evened up against the total, going 6-6-1, but Minnesota saw the under go 7-6. My total pick is under 50.5 points. Coastal Carolina versus Jacksonville State. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, facing several significant roster changes, must adapt their game plan for the 2024 season. Notably, the loss of quarterback Grayson McCall to the NC State Wolfpack via the transfer portal presents a challenge to their aerial attack. This season, quarterback Ethan Vasco is expected to be the starter, and he had a strong season when called up as he went 76 of 122, 62.3%, for 779 yards with 7 touchdowns to 1 interception. Coastal Carolina's offense has leaned heavily on their rushing game, led by Braden Bennett, who amassed 407 rushing yards. Their total offense stood at 416.2 total yards per game, with passing accounting for a significant 261.6 yards, 39th nationally. This team is going to be in a position where they can be dominant despite the quarterback change. Defensively, Coastal Carolina has been more balanced, allowing 380.0 total yards per game, with their pass defense standing out, allowing just 211.5 passing yards per game. The Tigers have also shown efficiency in disrupting the opposing quarterback, amassing 48 pass deflections and 14 interceptions. With safety Clayton Isbell no longer on the team, it will be interesting to see how the secondary looks without their top player. Jacksonville State Gamecocks enter the 2024 season with a solid 2023 season behind them, but face significant challenges due to key changes at the wide receiver position. Both Brandon Spector and Samario Rudolph are new to the team and are expected to be in the starting lineup for this game. Logan Smothers is going to be the starting quarterback for the Gamecocks, and he struggled a bit as the backup last year as he went 66 of 117, 56.4%, for 735 yards with 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Last season, the team ranked tied for 116th nationally in passing yards, averaging 171.0 per game. However, the rushing game was critical, contributing 236.7 yards per game, 3rd nationally, and that might see an increased emphasis to help the offense. The team was 50th in scoring with 30.2 points per game as well. The Gamecocks defense, allowing an average of 361.6 total yards per game, was doing well last season. Their rush defense, in particular, has been impressive, conceding only 113.1 yards per game. However, with the changes in the secondary, expect teams to pass the ball against them to take advantage of the situation. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleers are a good team, but the Jacksonville State Jaguars are going to step up and win by at least a field goal in this game. Coastal Carolina has 7 different wide receivers that are expected to make their Chanticleers debut, so the timing could be a bit off. Jacksonville State plays a tough brand of defense as they allow 20.3 points per game, and Ethan Vasco has not showcased an ability to throw the ball consistently when defenses game plan for him specifically. Go with the Jacksonville State Gamecocks to cover the spread and begin the season 1-0. My team pick is Jacksonville State Gamecocks minus 2.5 points. With 2 quarterbacks who are being asked to start for the first time in their collegiate careers, there is going to be a lot of excitement for the defenses. Ethan Vasco did look impressive in limited action last season, but the struggles of their first live action against a different color jersey is going to be a bit different. Jacksonville State is going to remain dependent on the running game, as they will depend on an experienced defensive line to get blocks up front. All in all, go with under 55.5 points, as these offenses are going to struggle to get going and use a lot of clock in the opening game of the year. My total pick is under 55.5 points.